Jaiwo Park stood at the viewport of the diplomatic vessel, watching the massive space station grow larger. The Galactic Hegemony headquarters, home to representatives from 1,000 worlds, gleamed like a jewel against the darkness. Earth's first official ambassador to the stars adjusted her formal suit one last time. "Ambassador, we dock in 5 minutes," said the pilot. Jaiwo nodded. Her face remained calm, though inside she felt both excitement and caution. The mission was simple yet dangerous: secure Earth's recognition as an independent power, not a subject world. The ship glided into the docking bay. Through the viewport, Jaiwo saw the welcoming party, tall figures in ornate uniforms. None looked happy to see the human vessel. "They don't want us here," said Captain Miho, her security officer. "Be careful." Jaiwo merely smiled. "I've faced worse." The airlock hissed open. Jaiwo stepped onto hegemony territory, her small team following behind. A tall official with blue-tinted skin bowed stiffly. "Ambassador Park. I am Director Sun Woo. Welcome to the Galactic Hegemony. King Day will grant you audience tomorrow. Until then, you will be shown to your quarters." The halls of the station stretched endlessly, filled with beings from across the galaxy. Many stopped to stare at the humans. Earth had only achieved faster than light travel 30 years ago, making them newcomers in a community thousands of years old. "They look at us like we're children," whispered Miho. "Let them," Jaiwo replied. "Underestimation is an advantage." Their quarters were luxurious but clearly monitored. Jaiwo noted the subtle placement of surveillance devices while maintaining a look of ignorance. Once alone, she activated a small device that created a bubble of privacy around her. From a hidden pocket, she removed a secure tablet and reviewed her true briefing. The hegemony was facing internal troubles. Several powerful worlds sought independence. Earth's request for sovereignty came at a dangerous time for King Day's authority. Intelligence suggested he might make an example of the humans. Jaiwo had been chosen not just for her diplomatic skills. A soft chime announced a visitor. Jaiwo deactivated her privacy shield and opened the door to find Director Sun Woo. "The king requests your presence at dinner tonight. An unexpected honor." "I'm grateful for His Majesty's kindness," Jaiwo replied with perfect politeness. After Sun Woo left, Miho frowned. A dinner invitation wasn't in the schedule. "No," Jaiwo agreed. "They're watching us more closely than expected." The royal dining hall sparkled with crystal and precious metals. 50 dignitaries sat at the long table, with King Day at its head. He was physically impressive, tall with striking gold eyes and skin that seemed to shine from within. "Ambassador Park," he called as she entered. "Come, sit beside me. Tell me of Earth." Throughout dinner, the king asked seemingly friendly questions. Jaiwo answered carefully, aware of the trap hidden beneath his courtesy. "Your planet fought a war against machines of your own creation," King Day said finally. "Hardly the mark of an advanced civilization." The table grew quiet. "We survived," Jaiwo replied evenly. "And learned much from our mistakes." "Indeed. I hear tales of a warrior during that war. Someone who turned the tide single-handedly. They called her, what was it? A name from old Earth folklore." Jaiwo took a sip of water, her face revealing nothing. "Earth has many heroes and many legends, Your Majesty." Later that night, as Jaiwo prepared for sleep, she noticed her room's temperature control failing. The air grew steadily colder, deadly cold for humans. A simple malfunction, the system would claim. Jaiwo calmly opened her personal case and pressed her palm against its surface. The case opened to reveal items not on any official inventory. With practiced movements, she neutralized the environmental sabotage and sent a silent alert to Miho. In his private chamber, King Day received news of the failed attempt. "Interesting," he said to his advisor Tae-hyun. "Perhaps our human guest is more resourceful than she appears." The soldiers who escorted her were talking, Your Majesty. They've heard rumors about her past. What rumors? During the AI war, the machines feared one human above all others. they called her Baba Yaga. The king laughed. Surely not our polite ambassador? The description matches, Your Majesty. Then we shall simply have to try harder to make her stay with us. Brief. In her quarters, Jaiwu sent an encrypted message to Earth Command, first contact established. First attempt made. Proceeding as planned. She closed her eyes to sleep, aware that tomorrow would bring both diplomatic challenges and more attempts on her life. Both were expected. Both she was prepared for. Jaiwu woke suddenly, her eyes snapping open in the darkness. Years of training had honed her senses to detect danger even in sleep. The air smelled wrong. She rolled silently from her bed just as the ceiling panel above her sleeping area detached and crashed down. The panel would have crushed her skull. A tragic accident, the hegemony would claim. Nito burst into her quarters, weapon drawn. Ambassador. I'm fine, Jaiwu said calmly, examining the fallen panel. Interesting that the fasteners all failed at once, don't you think? By morning, hegemony officials arrived with profuse apologies. Director Sun Wu personally supervised the repairs, claiming the station's age was to blame. We've arranged a tour of our botanical gardens today, Sun Wu informed her. King Day wishes you to see the beauty our civilization has preserved. The gardens stretched for kilometers, a vast enclosed ecosystem featuring plants from hundreds of worlds. Jaiwu admired the colorful blooms while noting the security cameras tracking her movement. These flowers are from Nexus 4, the guide explained, pointing to vibrant purple blossoms. Beautiful but deadly. Their pollen contains a neurotoxin fatal to most species. How interesting, Jaiwu replied, noticing the slight pressure change that indicated the garden's air circulation had been altered. The vents now directed airflow directly from the toxic flowers toward her position. Without showing alarm, she reached into her pocket and crushed a small capsule between her fingers. The antidote absorbed through her skin just as the first particles reached her. Are you feeling well, Ambassador? The guide asked, watching expectantly. Never better, Jaiwu smiled. Though I find myself curious about your security systems. The garden seems extensively monitored. In the control room, King Day slammed his fist against the console. Impossible. The toxin should have dropped her instantly. Taehyun studied the monitor. The soldiers' rumors gain credibility, Your Majesty. During the AI war, Baba Yaga was said to be immune to all known poisons. Coincidence? Perhaps humans are naturally resistant. Perhaps, Taehyun said doubtfully. Later that day, Jaiwu attended the scheduled negotiation session. She presented Earth's proposal for recognition with perfect composure, as though no attempts had been made on her life. Earth seeks only fair trade and recognition of our sovereignty, she explained to the council. We have much to offer the hegemony as partners. King Day's eyes never left her face. You speak well, Ambassador. But surely such a young species should serve an apprenticeship of sorts before claiming equal status? We respectfully disagree, Your Majesty. Earth has earned its place through hardship and innovation. That evening, Jaiwu was invited to tour the station's advanced transportation system. The shuttle that would carry her between sections had been personally selected by the king. As the doors closed and the shuttle began to move, Jaiwu noted the subtle signs of tampering on the control panel. The shuttle suddenly accelerated, far beyond safe speeds. System malfunction, announced the automated voice. Emergency protocols engaged. Impact in 30 seconds. The security camera in the corner recorded as Jaiwu calmly approached the control panel. Her fingers moved with blinding speed, bypassing the rigged systems. When that failed, she pried open the floor panel, exposing the shuttle's emergency manual controls. 3 seconds before impact, the shuttle slowed and stabilized. The station's emergency crews arrived to find Jaiwu sitting calmly on the shuttle bench. Technical difficulties, she explained with a smile. In his private chambers, King Day watched the security footage with growing frustration. No ordinary diplomat could have survived any of these accidents, let alone all three. The rumors must be true, Taehyun said quietly. She moves too quickly, thinks too fast. Show me everything you have on this Baba Yaga, the king demanded. Taehyun placed a data crystal in the projector. Grainy footage appeared, scenes from Earth's AI war. A lone figure moved through a battlefield littered with destroyed war machines. The images were distorted and incomplete, but the fighting style was distinctive. During the final years of the war, when machines had nearly won, one operative turned the tide, Taehyun explained. The records are fragmentary, but they speak of millions of machine casualties attributed to a single human agent. And you believe this is our ambassador? The physical measurements match. So does her reaction speed. The machines called her Baba Yaga after an Earth legend about a witch who could not be killed. The king's expression darkened. If Earth has sent this weapon, disguised as a diplomat, they mock us. Prepare my elite guard. No more accidents. Tonight we end this charade directly. In her quarters, Jaiwoo received an encrypted message from Earth Command, status report requested. She replied simply, 3 attempts made. Proceeding to Phase 2. Expect escalation within 24 hours. As night fell on the station, 12 shadow figures moved silently toward the ambassador's quarters, each armed with weapons designed to kill even the most resilient targets. Jaiwoo sat in the darkness, waiting. The 12 elite guards moved like shadows through the dimly lit corridors of the station. Each soldier wore advanced stealth armor that absorbed light and sound. They had been handpicked by King Dae himself, veterans of 100 battles across the galaxy. Their orders were simple: eliminate the human ambassador. The squad leader, Hyun, signaled a halt outside Jaiwoo's quarters. Their sensors detected only one lifeform inside, sleeping, according to the thermal imaging. He gave the attack signal, and the door slid open silently. The room was dark. On the bed lay a still form. Hyun motioned 2 soldiers forward. They raised their weapons, specially designed neurodisruptors that would shut down any known nervous system. I was wondering when you'd arrive. The voice came from behind them. Before anyone could turn, 2 guards dropped silently to the floor. The squad spun around, weapons raised, to find Ambassador Jaiwoo standing calmly by the door they had just entered. 12 of you, she said, looking almost disappointed. The king underestimates me. What happened next occurred so quickly that the station's security cameras, when reviewed later, had to be slowed to 1/10 speed to capture it. Jaiwoo moved between the soldiers like water through rocks. No motion wasted, no attack telegraphed. Han managed to fire 1 shot before a strike to his throat silenced him. The neurodisruptor beam passed harmlessly through the space where Jaiwoo had been a split second earlier. Within 20 seconds, 11 guards lay unconscious on the floor. Only Hyun remained conscious, pinned against the wall, Jaiwoo's hand at his throat. Tell your king, 3 strikes. There won't be a 4th. When Hyun awoke, he was in the medical bay alongside his squad. None could remember how they got there. Each had a small note pinned to their uniform with the same message, 3 strikes. King Dae's rage was terrible to behold. The throne room emptied as servants fled his wrath. Only Taehyun remained, standing quietly as the king smashed precious artifacts against the walls. She made fools of my best soldiers, he roared. Your Majesty, I found something you must see, Taehyun said, his voice unnaturally tense. He activated the holographic projector. A classified file appeared, recently obtained from Earth's most secure archives. This is from the final days of their AI war, Taehyun explained. The machines had nearly won. Humanity faced extinction. The footage showed devastated cities, machines marching through ruined streets. Then the image shifted to a laboratory. Scientists surrounded a medical pod containing a female figure. Project Baba Yaga, read the file header. Last stage human enhancement program. Subject, Park, Jaiwoo. King Dae sank into his throne, eyes fixed on the screen. They were desperate, Taehyun continued. Their records indicate they enhanced her beyond normal human capabilities, neural processing at machine speeds, skeletal reinforcement, accelerated healing, toxin immunity. The video showed the subject, unmistakably Jaiwoo, undergoing procedures that would have killed an ordinary human. After enhancement, she was deployed against the machine armies, Taehyun said, changing the footage. the new video showed a battlefield. Hundreds of combat machines advanced and then a single figure appeared among them. The machines fell like wheat before a scythe. The fighting was too fast to follow clearly, but the results were obvious. One human. Hundreds of destroyed machines. The machines began to fear her, Taehyun said quietly. They called her Baba Yaga, the witch who could not be killed, who came in the night to take them. Why would Earth send their greatest weapon as a diplomat? King Dae asked, his anger now replaced with unease. I believe it was a message, Your Majesty. They knew you might reject their petition. They wanted you to understand what challenging Earth might cost. The next morning, Jaiwoo arrived precisely on time for the scheduled negotiation session. She looked perfectly rested, her uniform crisp, her manner professional. The hegemony representatives avoided her eyes. Whispers followed her through the hall. King Dae entered last, his face tightly controlled. Ambassador Park, before we continue our discussions, I believe some clarification is needed. With a gesture, he activated the chamber's main display. The classified footage from Earth played for all to see Jaiwoo's transformation, her battlefield prowess. A murmur ran through the gathered diplomats. Many edged away from the human ambassador. Jaiwoo watched the footage without expression. When it ended, she simply folded her hands on the table. Is this you? King Dae demanded. Yes, she replied calmly. Earth did what was necessary to survive extinction. As would any species. You concealed your true nature from us. I concealed nothing. I am Earth's diplomatic representative. My past is irrelevant to our negotiations. You are a weapon, the king exclaimed. I was a soldier, Jaiwoo corrected him. Now I am a diplomat. Unless, of course, diplomacy fails. The room fell completely silent. Your assassination attempts have been noted and forgiven, she continued in the same pleasant tone. Shall we return to the matter of Earth's recognition as a sovereign power? King Dae stared at her for a long moment. Then, slowly, he nodded. For 3 days following the revelation, negotiations proceeded with a tense courtesy. The hegemony representatives treated Jaiwoo with wary respect, while King Dae watched her with barely concealed hatred. Behind closed doors, the king's authority was crumbling. The knowledge that Earth had sent their legendary warrior as a diplomat had spread throughout the station. Many representatives began to question whether defying Earth was wise. Jaiwoo noticed the shift in attitude but maintained her professional demeanor. She continued to present Earth's case with calm logic, never mentioning the failed assassination attempts or the revealed footage. On the 4th morning, Jaiwoo arrived at the council chamber to find it empty except for Taehyun. The session has been moved to the Grand Hall, he explained, not meeting her eyes. The king wishes to address all station representatives regarding Earth's petition. Jaiwoo sensed the trap immediately. How thoughtful of His Majesty to give our discussions such prominence. The Grand Hall could hold thousands. Today it was filled to capacity, with representatives from all 1,000 worlds of the hegemony. Massive screens displayed the proceedings to those who couldn't fit inside. King Dae had made sure this would be witnessed by the entire galactic community. As Jaiwoo entered, a hush fell over the crowd. She walked steadily down the central aisle, acutely aware of the security forces positioned around the perimeter. Not guards, soldiers, heavily armed. King Dae sat on a raised platform, wearing full ceremonial armor rather than his usual robes. His expression was triumphant. Ambassador Park, he called, his voice amplified through the hall. Approach. Jaiwoo walked forward until she stood before the platform. The king rose to his full height, towering over her. Representatives of the hegemony, he proclaimed. For days we have entertained the petition of Earth to join us as equals. Now we know the truth. They have sent not a diplomat but a weapon, a killer designed to intimidate us. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Earth seeks not cooperation but domination, the king continued. They believe their war machine can frighten us into submission. Jaiwoo remained silent, her posture relaxed despite the armed soldiers moving to surround her. Today, we show Earth and all would-be challengers the price of disrespect. The king drew a ceremonial blade from his belt. The creature standing before you may have defeated my guards in darkness, but now she faces the full might of the hegemony in the light. At his signal, energy barriers activated around the central area, trapping Jaiwu within a ring of soldiers. Your Majesty, Jaiwu finally spoke, her voice carrying easily without amplification. This is unnecessary. Earth seeks only peaceful recognition. Peace through fear is not peace, the king spat. You will be publicly executed as the weapon you are, and Earth will learn its place. He nodded to the commander of the soldiers. Take her. What happened next would be debated in hegemony histories for centuries. Some claimed it was impossible, others that the recordings were altered. But thousands witnessed it firsthand. Jaiwu moved. Not with the blind speed of a berserker, but with the perfect economy of movement that had earned her the name Baba Yaga. She flowed between energy blasts like water between stones. Soldiers found themselves disarmed before they registered her presence. Weapons failed, armor systems shut down. The king watched in growing horror as his elite forces were systematically neutralized, not killed, not even injured severely, but rendered helpless with surgical precision. In exactly 56 seconds, 48 soldiers lay disabled. Jaiwu stood at the base of the king's platform, looking up at him with the same calm expression she'd worn throughout the negotiations. The hall was absolutely silent. Your Majesty, she said quietly. Earth does not seek conflict. We know its cost better than most. We faced extinction and survived. That experience taught us the value of peace and the necessity of strength. She ascended the steps until she stood before the king. He raised his blade, but his hand trembled. You could have killed them all, he said, gesturing to his fallen soldiers. Yes, Jaiwu agreed. Just as Earth could have sent warships instead of a diplomatic mission. We chose another way. She turned to face the assembled representatives of the hegemony. Earth does not wish to join your alliance as conquerors or through fear. We wish to join as equals, bringing our unique perspective and abilities to strengthen the whole. Her eyes returned to the king. The choice has always been yours. Respect us as equals, or discover what Earth is truly capable of. For a long moment, King Day stared at her. Then, slowly, he lowered his blade. The hegemony. He began, then stopped, his voice faltering. He started again. The hegemony acknowledges Earth's petition. We will recognize your sovereignty. Throughout the hall, representatives began to applaud, first a few, then hundreds, then thousands. Jaiwu bowed precisely to the king. Deep enough to show respect, shallow enough to assert equality. Earth thanks you for your wisdom, your majesty. 1 month after the events in the Grand Hall, the Galactic Hegemony gathered again for the formal signing of the Earth Recognition Treaty. The ceremony took place in the same hall where King Day had attempted his public execution. Now, the space was transformed with banners representing both the hegemony and Earth. Jaiwu stood at the center of the platform, dressed in formal diplomatic attire. Instead of fear, the representatives now watched her with respect and curiosity. The story of the confrontation had spread throughout the 1,000 worlds, growing with each telling. King Day entered last, his steps measured but lacking their former confidence. The ceremonial armor was gone, replaced by simple official robes. He took his position opposite Jaiwu, avoiding direct eye contact. Representatives of the hegemony, he began, his voice amplified but subdued. Today marks a historic occasion. We welcome Earth as a sovereign equal within our galactic community. The treaty was displayed on the massive screens around the hall. Its terms were far more favorable to Earth than anyone had expected 1 month ago. Beyond recognition of sovereignty, it included technology exchange agreements, mutual defense provisions, and open trade routes. Jaiwu stepped forward to sign. On behalf of Earth and all humanity, I accept these terms with gratitude and hope for a peaceful future together. As she signed, whispers moved through the crowd. The name Baba Yaga passed from lip to lip, no longer spoken in fear but with a kind of awe. After the ceremony, Taehyun approached Jaiwu at the reception. The king has announced his retirement, he said quietly. He will leave for the outer colonies next week. Jaiwu nodded. A wise decision. Many worlds that were considering rebellion against the hegemony have withdrawn their threats, Taehyun continued. Your demonstration had wider effects than perhaps intended. Peace through respect is always preferable to peace through fear, Jaiwu replied, sipping her drink. Later that evening, King Dae requested a private audience with the ambassador. They met in a small chamber overlooking the vast starfield beyond the station. You have changed the hegemony forever, he said without preamble. Change was inevitable, Jaiwu replied. Earth simply accelerated it. The king studied her face. Was it all planned? The assassination attempts, the public confrontation? Earth anticipated resistance, she answered carefully. We prepared accordingly. You could have destroyed us. That was never our intention. The king turned to look at the stars. I have ruled for 3 centuries. In that time, I have seen empires rise and fall. But I have never encountered anything like you. I am not unique, Jaiwu said. Earth is full of people who survived impossible odds. It shaped us. The Baba Yaga, he mused. The machines feared you. Now I understand why. 3 days later, Jaiwu prepared to board the vessel that would return her to Earth. Her mission was complete. Earth recognized, the treaty signed, the future secured. Director Sun Woo, now acting as interim hegemony leader, came to see her off. Will Earth send another ambassador? He asked. Yes, Jaiwu replied. Someone better suited to routine diplomacy. And you? What will the Baba Yaga do now? Jaiwu smiled slightly. Rest, perhaps. My role was specific to this mission. As she walked toward her ship, Miho fell into step beside her. Success beyond our highest projections, he said quietly. Earth Command is extremely pleased. The enhancements are taking their toll, Jaiwu replied, equally quietly. The medical team will need to begin reversal procedures as soon as we return. Miho looked surprised. You're giving them up? After everything? They were always temporary. The war is over. This mission is complete. You're a legend now. Throughout the galaxy, they'll tell stories about you. Good, Jaiwu said. Let the legend protect Earth better than I could. As her ship broke free from the station and turned toward home, Jaiwu watched the hegemony headquarters grow smaller through the viewport. The enhancements that had made her Baba Yaga hummed beneath her skin, their power already beginning to fade. In her private cabin, she opened her secure communication channel one last time. Mission completed. Treaty signed. Returning to Earth for decommissioning. The response came immediately, acknowledged. The legend was enough. You won't be needed again. Jaiwu closed her eyes, feeling something like peace for the first time in years. Not since before the AI war, before the experiments, before she became something more and less than human. Earth had its place among the stars now. Not through conquest or intimidation, but through respect earned the hard way. The galaxy now understood, humans were not to be underestimated. As for Baba Yaga, her story would grow with each telling, protecting humanity more effectively than weapons ever could. Some would say she was merely a myth. Others would insist they had seen her with their own eyes. The truth, as always, lay somewhere in between.